What is up, everybody? Paul Riley here with this week's ammo haul. It's not the Friday night ammo haul anymore. I have to remember that. It's not Friday anymore. It's Saturday. Saturday fun day. All right, so this week I didn't score a whole lot of ammo, but I did manage to find a little bit. I didn't even bother to try until late in the week. So without any further ado, let's get into therapy while we're waiting on some people to come in, and I'll just found a couple boxes of some 243 When you find them, you buy them. I got 2 boxes of those, so we scored 40 rounds of that. Excuse me. No, and at one of the local gun stores, I found a 20-pack of these Challenger mini shells, 1,200 feet per second. 1 3/4 little sluggers, 20 of them in a box. These are the minis. Oh, and while we were at a different Walmart, ended up scoring a couple of boxes of some 12 gauge Winchester white box. These are 2 3/4 inch, 7.5 shot. These are heavy target loads. These should work in your semi-automatic shotguns. I use these quite a bit. They've worked very well for me in the past. And last but not least, I didn't get these this week. These have been around for a while, but I ended up picking up here a while back some 12 gauge pit bull rounds. These are supposed to be double aught buck with dragon's breath, is what they were advertised as. I haven't shot any of them yet, but honestly, to me, it looks like just a slug, a disc, and some ball bearings. Buckshot is what it looks like. I don't think there was any actual dragon's breath in it. I think they just painted the slugs red and misrepresented the product, but it is what it is. I haven't shot any of them yet, but maybe we'll get around to it here soon. I don't know. I hope everybody's been having a great week. Before we get into anything else, I want to ask everybody that watches, excuse me, go over, check out the Free Men Report here on YouTube. Jeremy and Thomas do a lot of good work. They put in a lot of hours on research that most of us simply do not have time to do, or don't understand the language of what you're reading enough to be able to properly research it. Jeremy and Thomas, they do that for you. And they do a weekly show every week. I was on the show last night. They're doing it now on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern is when the Free Men Report does their weekly live show. Straight Shooter Coffee, the official coffee of Therapyrange. Yum, yum, good for the tum-tum. Shure-Shot Shooting Supplies, they've been so gracious into supplying us with a very decent and reasonable amount of ammunition. It's a high-quality product. I recommend it to anybody that shoots guns. You should definitely check them out at SureShotShootingSupplies.com. And then last but not least, I need everybody to go and check out PatriotShit.com and Therapyrange.com. Those are my websites. Those are how I generate revenue and take care of the family and keep the range going. I see that we're almost 5 minutes in and there's not a single person watching, so I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet this week. I'm not going to get too long into it. Ohio passes constitutional carry. There's a lot of people out there that are being very negative about regaining freedom that was illegally stolen from you in the first place. Okay, so for all the people that watch that have a problem with being able to carry a weapon, how you choose, when you choose, whether you've had training or not, think about this for a second. It's not your freedom to decide on. If you choose to be responsible, you choose to get your training, you choose to do everything the correct way, that doesn't mean that you have automatically been granted the authority to tell other people how they need to do it. All right? That's not how a free society works. It's just not. You're entitled to your opinion, but when you actually try to take action on that, when you actually want to engage people and try to persuade them to see things the way you see them, please remember how Democrats and liberals make their arguments. Don't inadvertently find yourself making an argument that a Democrat or a liberal would be making. If you play it back in your head, if you listen to the words that a lot of you tend to end up using, you will often find yourself, if you take a fair, clear, objective listen to what you're saying, you will find yourself speaking increasingly like a liberal Democrat than a conservative, constitutionalist, Republican, libertarian, whatever flag that you tend to want to fly under. That's not a personal attack. That's just an observation from a rational person that can look at something objectively and not be biased, even if I agree or disagree. I like to think that I have the ability to look at a lot of these situations in an unbiased way. And, that I feel like that gives me an edge over the people that tend to want to look at things and make decisions with emotional based reactions and emotional based decisions. Constitutional carry is a great thing. Now the FOP and the mayors of Ohio organizations and different, acronym groups will have this or that to say about it. But the reality of it is the facts is that you can look at any of the states throughout the country that have enacted constitutional carry, that has provided that liberty and right back to its citizenry, has not seen giant spikes in gun violence. They've not seen high incidences of shootouts in the streets. It's not turned into the OK Corral, and it's not been a detriment to the welfare of the citizenry at large. As a matter of fact, it's been the opposite of that in every single state that constitutional carry has been enacted in. And when you look at the state of Ohio and the growing crime, I mean, granted, we're not as bad as other states. We can't compare with New York. We can't compare with Chicago. We can't compare with California. But do we go ahead and just keep sitting here and waiting until our crime gets to the point to where we can compete with them? I mean, are we looking for bragging rights on how many homicides we have in a weekend? Because you don't have those problems. Well, you don't have as predominant of a problem in states that have enacted constitutional carry, because you know why? Law-abiding gun owners just want to be able to defend themselves. Just because you provide back that right doesn't mean that every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the state's going to strap up with a 35 IQ and go out and shoot the place up. Even the dummies are smart enough to know that they'll end up in prison if they fuck up with their gun. Even the dumb people know that. I mean, in my lifetime as a gun show vendor and a vendor at fairs and festivals, I've encountered people that have clearly told me that I don't need a gun. I'll hurt somebody if I have a gun. I don't have the right kind of personality to be a gun person. And I can respect that. I don't necessarily understand it, but if you know that you're not capable of self-control, well, then go. I agree. If you knowingly know that you can't control yourself in anger and violent situations, that you have an attitude problem or you have a problem with authority, then, exercise some self-control, some self-discipline, and make a better choice for yourself, and don't put yourself in that situation. Get ahead of it. For everybody else, stop punishing people for crimes that haven't even been committed yet. It's not that hard. Society has grown so soft when it comes to the value of a human life. And don't get me wrong, all life is precious, but they've gotten to the point to where the value of a life in some people's eyes has grown so great that there's no excuse for taking a life. And, anybody with any rational sense knows that there's absolutely times and places and reasons that, life has to be ended. There just is. That's the world we live in. That's not make-believe. That's not liberal utopia. The real world requires that some people just don't get to stay. Some people are so inherently evil and wrong and bad that they just can't be a part of the gene pool anymore, or shouldn't be anyway. But for some reason, we continue to keep protecting them and keeping them as a part of our society. And we, as the law-abiding citizens, suffer. We go without liberties. We go without freedoms to keep the dumb and sensitive and soft protected. We continue to keep wrapping layers of bubble wrap all over everything so people don't get offended, to the point to where when you go to the public square, the new town square, which is now Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Gab.com is really taken off, YouTube, anywhere where we can gather as a society and listen and share and exchange ideas and thoughts, is the town square. It's a metaphorical. It doesn't actually mean that we all have to get together in the town square and hold candles and sing Kumbaya fucking ya. This is the town square now. But the reality is that the town square has been censored by the fourth branch of the government. Yes, the fourth branch of the government. I understand there's only supposed to be 3 branches. I get that. That's not the world that we live in, though. The world that we live in has 4 branches of government, and we're moving into the 5th branch. The 4th branch is the media. The 5th branch is becoming the big tech industry. Big tech is becoming the 5th branch of government. They're nothing more than a ATF or FBI or a Department of Energy or any other federally created organization that operates on behalf of the government. At this point, I mean, it's not even a conspiracy. I mean, it's really crazy when you look back at the InfoWars shows over the years and realize that those were fucking documentaries. Alex Jones wasn't a fucking nutcase. I mean, there's a few things that he said that was batshit crazy that hasn't happened yet. Hasn't happened yet. Alex Jones, motherfucking prophet. It's crazy because you've actually got to watch what you say now. Certain topics will get you flagged and get you kicked off. It will restrict your ability. If you're a YouTuber with a lot of following, it will restrict your ability to reach that following. It will restrict your ability to earn compensation for your time and creative content. You know, like I was on the Freeman Report last night, and we were talking about Leah Thomas. I'm not going to refer to him as a her. I don't give a flying rat's ass what the rest of the world does, what the rest of the world approves of or thinks about. It's a man, baby. It's a man, all right? It's a man. You can pretend, you can make believe all you want to, but when Leah Thomas came into this world, the doctor marked one of 2 boxes. When Leah Thompson leaves this world, the doctor will again mark one of 2 boxes. You can pretend all you fucking want to. You can make believe and play dress up and all that shit, and everybody can go along with it, and that's fine. But the facts, the truth, there was an M checked when this person was born. What do you think they're going to check when this person leaves? All right. Because the coroner's not allowed to gender assume. The coroner's going to pull back the clothing and verify with science one way or another. The coroner can't gender assume. The coroner has to work based on facts. Are we going to change the facts? Are we going to change science? We're going to change the science so your feelings don't get hurt? I know I'm treading on thin ice. I wanted to do a video about this pile of guns laying here and talk about them, but I can't talk about guns. Well, I can't handle guns in a live stream via YouTube rules. More censorship, more government control. I mean, does big tech really want stuff like that taken off the platform, or is the government leaning on them to get more stuff like that taking off the platform? When we got Jean Psaki over here talking about how she wishes big tech would put more effort into censoring Americans and put more effort into sheltering only one side of the ideology, only pushing forward one portion, one side of the ideas. I mean, and that's a major problem in any society. I don't care what society it is. When you've got one class of people that have complete and utter control over the ideology of everything that takes place, well, Ronald Reagan said it best, that we're one generation away from tyranny. I can't disagree more. I mean, how can you call what we live in right now anything but a generous form of tyranny? I mean, they haven't outright said, yeah, we're tyrants. But I mean, Joe Biden just the other day said, talked about the New World Order. I mean, for years now, Bush talked about the New World Order. Obama mentioned the New World Order. I mean, it's clear as the nose on your face. You can search it and find it on the internet. Agenda 21, hell, the Communist Manifesto. If for all of those out there that have never read the Communist Manifesto, man, that shit would absolutely scare it'll. I hope you wear your brown pants. The Communist Manifesto was written ages ago. And if you go through and you sit down and you take the time to actually read that document that was written probably close to 50 years ago, you're going to absolutely need your brown pants on. You will absolutely shit yourself when you see how every freaking thing that the Communist Manifesto actually calls for and wants to have happen to see the downfall of the Western society is written right there in the Communist Manifesto. It's all right there, breaking down the getting God out of everyday life, breaking up the nuclear family, putting more emphasis on liberalism in colleges, programming generations of people to think and act the way you see people thinking and acting right now. None of this shit was by mistake. None of this stuff was an accident. This shit all happened by design. Go read Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is not as old as the Communist Manifesto, but if you read it, boy, it sure as hell looks like an outline of what we're looking at today. I mean, it just is. It's not about being a conspiracy theorist. It's about taking a document that was actually written. It exists. It's a real thing. Reading that and comparing it to what you see going on around you today. It's pretty cut and dry, okay? I mean, it's scary shit. But when I read it 10 years ago, when I read the Communist Manifesto 10 years ago, and granted, I didn't read the whole thing. I skimmed through the highlighted sections of it, the scary parts. I read through the Revelations section, per se, of the Communist Manifesto. And I didn't think a whole lot of it because I didn't recognize, when I looked around, I wasn't sharp enough at the time to recognize what I was seeing, what was going on around me, how you could connect the things that were going on around with what was written in that document. Mainly because I just simply wasn't paying enough attention to what was going on around me. I wasn't watching the news. I didn't read the paper. I didn't talk on social media with people like I do now. I didn't read social media. Social media wasn't as prevalent back then. It was MySpace, and then eventually we all moved over to Fuckbook. And man, when Facebook first started, it was an amazing thing. It was such a brilliant, genuine, pure tool. It's not that anymore. Now I look at social media, with the exception of a handful of people that are trying to do it independently, as nothing more than a propaganda tool for big government and big tech. If it benefits either or, it doesn't matter how good it is for you or how bad it is for you. I mean, anybody with a pulse at this point should be able to understand that if there's any question about the integrity of what we do in America every 4 years, then it would have to be based on the fact that big tech sponsored one side, one ideology over another. It wasn't that somebody in another country was interfering. It wasn't that Americans just didn't understand what was going on, what they were. I mean, even big media couldn't convince them of the fuckery going on. It took it being jammed down their throats 24/7 in social media format, nonstop. Every other post, something to do with, oh, this guy did this or that. If you see it any other way, I question the level of sharpness that you have. Are you a victim of the public education system? I know that there's a lot of people out there that are in fact victims of the public education system, and they're victims of the liberalism and poison that was injected into their parents and grandparents years ago. I mean, this isn't a new plan. It's not something that's just been recently created. This thing has been in effect for a long, long time. You see, we finally got a couple people watching. Shout out to everybody on the stream. I appreciate it. Hit that like, subscribe, and share. Need to get the word out. Yo. Nick Seymour, big shout out to you. Thanks for giving me a call today. I appreciate hearing from you. What's up, Smith? Red Bone? Sorry if I don't recognize people by their screen names in here. I interact with a lot of people, so it's very hard to keep up. Unless we interact frequently, it becomes very hard to keep up with all the different screen names and usernames that I come in contact with over the course of a week or a month or a year, etc. But it's definitely a strange world that we're living in right now. And that's what brings me to my last topic. We're getting close to 30 minutes in. We're not going to go too much more than like maybe 40, 45 minutes. Self-reliance. It's something that you talk about, people, like, man, I wouldn't mind being a prepper, or, I wish I could grow a garden, or I'd like to have some chickens. I tell you what, guys, it's getting to be to the point to where, take the conspiracy stuff out of the way. Okay, let's go ahead and just nix everything about the thing going on in Europe. Let's forget about the thing that went on for the last 2 years where they locked down businesses and broke families up and caused high rates of teen suicides from not letting people go to school. We won't there's just been a lot. There's been a lot going on, and things continue to keep escalating and sliding further and further down the rabbit hole. We've watched thousands upon thousands upon thousands of livestock animals get destroyed over the last couple of years. The bird flu is going around again this year. That's taking out millions of heads of poultry. And it's going to, between what's going on in Europe, between what's been going on here for the last 2 years, and companies being put out of business and people not going to work, and the perpetual welfare state making it easy to not go to work, the high wage expectations, the cost of everything is going through the roof. They want to blame it on this, they want to blame it on that, but the reality of it is that if you inject trillions of dollars into the economy that nobody had to work for, if you allow people to sit at home for over a year with no work, no hope, no optimism, it becomes very hard to re-kickstart that. All right. We've been living off the fruits of the labor of the greatest generation of Americans for 50 to 75 years now. The work that went into this country back in the Great War, after the Great War and the Great Depression, the work that went into building this country up and making it what it has been for my lifetime. I was born in 75, right there at the end of the Vietnam War. My lifetime, and everybody out there that's my age, around 40s, between 45 and 50, you've had it made. You've lived the most prosperous time of any people that have ever lived on the history of this rock. Myself included, we've had it made. Well, these people in the government keep jack fucking around, and they're going to train wreck this shit. We already see the inflation taking off. All right. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that it's not the shit going on with Russia that's crushing us down. It's the overwhelming lack of production. It's the overwhelming lack of motivation for people to go back to work. The desire to keep doing it has been diminished. This putting people on the couch for 2 years has broken the moral fiber of the people that have the will and desire to work and have a living and to work and push forward. The idea of the American dream is becoming so far out of reach. It's becoming so unrealistic that, in my personal opinion, it's driving people into a heavy depression, which is driving them to drugs, which is driving the crime up, which is driving homelessness up, which is driving poverty up, which is driving everything up. And it's a perpetual cycle that I don't know how to break it. I don't know. You know what I'll miss the most, though? If society or the supply lines ever do break down, I think the thing that I will miss the most is having nice cold Mountain Dew. What would you miss the most? There's 3 of you watching. What do you 3 guys miss the most? If let's just say, for instance, just a nationwide EMP, all the power grid goes down. There is no supply line. What's in the stores is in the stores. When that's gone, that's it. What would you miss the most? I'm going to miss the Mountain Dew. I can't stock up on enough of it. I don't have the storage to store enough of it. All right, well, don't answer then. That's fine. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody that watched. I know there hasn't been many of you. I'll be back almost every Friday night. Miller or a good cigar. I feel you on that. I'm not much of a beer drinker. I prefer to smoke my beers. If you wink, wink, nod, nod, if you know what I mean. Mountain Dew is probably my favorite consumable item. I absolutely love it. I love it so much. But it is what it is. So yeah, I want to thank everybody again that watched. I'll be here every Friday night. I didn't do last Friday, but it is what it is. It was a bad day. It was a really bad day. So I didn't do it. But I plan on being here every Friday. So tell a buddy, bring a friend, come and hang out. If we can get more people on, I would love to just do some open chat stuff where I don't even really have a format, and we can just do like an open circle conversation back and forth, maybe even bring somebody on. I'm open to doing a lot of different things. I want to have fun with this. It doesn't need to be all dry and boring or whatever. That's why I kind of just scoot through the ammo. That's just kind of like the what do they call it? Oh, the bait, clickbait. Yeah, that's the clickbait. The ammo is to get you to come and watch, and then hopefully you'll agree with what I say and you'll stick around and watch more of it. Like, subscribe, share, and yeah, go watch some other videos. There's a lot of jackassery on Therapyrange, and then there's quite a bit of actual information and knowledge that can be had too. I haven't lived all this life and not picked up nothing along the way. So, all right, that's it. I'm done. Good night. As always, guys, live your life to the fullest, because anything less is an injustice to yourself and every single person around you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, guys. Stay free, America.